Well, we've got something special for you today. CSM applications are almost open, and we are here interviewing the market man, the graphy boy, Oz himself. Yes, everybody say hi to Oz. Oz, it's good to see you. Welcome to the show. Good to have you. Thanks for taking the time. I had to get my production to be market focused, okay? If you can see the stream, I had to make sure that people know that you're who I get all of my market stuff from. And Chad, before we go further, Oz has unironically helped me to be space rich. So we're going to link his YouTube video, his YouTube channel in the video description here. So check that out. Also go follow him on Twitch. We are doing this live, of course, so you can answer questions, ask questions live. Go follow the man. Get it done, Oz. It's great to have you.
Hell yeah, dude. Good to see you. Good to see you, and thanks for having me on the show. I've been following your guides. I've been seeing what you do on YouTube, on Twitch. Amazing. So congrats on all of your success, dude.
Thanks, man. Really trying. So I missed you at last year's Fan Fest. I know that we were like, everything was going, and yeah, go ahead.
I missed last year because I was in Australia. So yeah. I was there the years before. I'm going to be there next year. And to lead over in the CSM interview, I hope to be there several times in Iceland next year again.
Love it. Here, I'm going to update my stream title too to show you, because that way your channel is just right there. Excellent stuff.
Yeah.
No, I'm really excited to meet more and more of the Eve partners, because my goodness, man, what got you started in Eve? How long have you been doing Eve? Because you've been around the block, I think.
Yeah. So I have been playing since the early days of Eve. I've been playing for over 20 years. The year it came out was my oldest character. I have one of those very early day birth dates on my main character, which is cool. And I started always finance, market focus. I'm a business guy. I studied business. I was always trading in stocks. I worked as a stockbroker for a while in my early days, and then did financial analysis. So I always approached Eve in terms of analyzing the markets, trying to edge out some sort of advantage in information over other players. And in the first weeks already of the game, I started building spreadsheets with material prices, with different regional differences, and try to eke out any advantage I could and make money. And then I played on and off over a decade. And then 5 years ago, everything changed, because 5 years ago, I had a kid and the pandemic hit in quick succession, and I started streaming EVE Online. And then I started shifting everything I do in game from making money, trying to make that number go up, to building tools, sharing knowledge, building guides, not unlike you are doing today. And then that changed my entire outlook, because I began being part of the community a lot. I began working with people on building tools, then working with CCP, and then getting on the CSM. I'm on my second term now on the CSM. We'll talk about what that is in a second. I heard your intro, where not everyone, of course, knows what this is, right?
Some people are like, what's that,
Yeah,
that's really cool, dude.
And
yeah, go ahead. Go.
And this, it's been an amazing journey. I mean, some of your viewers might not know that. I mean, this culminated last year, and I went to Vegas. I mean, CCP flew me out to Vegas last year to pose the final case at the Microsoft Excel Esports World Championships at the HyperX Esports Arena, which is the craziest thing that's ever happened to me.
Excel.
And it was so much fun that I had there. I was hosting on ESPN, and it was just amazing. So the journey that I've been able to have with EVE Online, and what the game and the player, the community, CCP has been able to provide to me in return for what I have given it, is just an amazing story, and I'm so humbled by it.
That's sick. I mean, what was it like to do Microsoft Excel on ESPN in like a sports arena? I heard about this. What were people doing? Like, what were what are finals in Microsoft Excel? Is that like who can do the VLOOKUP the fastest? Like, what are we talking about?
there's live coverage of it, so I can send you the link later if you want to post it on the video.
Sure.
But it's essentially 8 people on stage competing against each other who can solve most of the case within, like, I think 30 minutes or 20 minutes it is, and they get points for each part of the question. And I developed a case for them that was EVE Online centered. They had to mine asteroids and then put a fleet together, and it was
Sick.
it was crazy. And in the end, it was too hard. None of them solved it. I felt very bad.
That's funny.
But they all solved parts of it, and one guy clearly won, and he was the defending champion. And so it's a bunch of people in the crowd cheering. I mean, mostly nerds, like
mostly us. EVE players.
Exactly.
That's sick. The final boss of an Excel championship would be EVE Online. Now that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
And God bless you and the fam. I know you said you had a kid. That's awesome. Wife and I were not trying, but we're waiting on God's timing. Two now. God bless you. Oh, that's sick.
I am. I'm crossing my fingers for you. I heard you a bit earlier about daughters, and I have 2. And it's all true. It's all true. If
God bless us with one. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
It does put a little bump on my EVE playing time, of course, but it's the greatest thing in life. For sure.
Family's more important though. And look, if you train them up right, and I know you will, they'll be able to fly ventures of their own one day. So
right.
It's gonna be good. One of my best friends.
Yeah,
actually,
I don't think I'm gonna let them play EVE Online.
No, that's entirely fair. I depending on what we're wanting. Exactly. One of my best friends, one of my college roommates, he sent me a Snapchat like years ago of his, at the time, 6 or 7 year old. And he was like, "Hey, what are you doing, little man?" And he goes, "Dad, I made 200 gold." And he's like farming in World of Warcraft, like on his account. He's like, "Good job, son. That means you get your allowance this week." And I was like, this is like a life hack? Like you're at work and your kids are farming you gold. Makes sense to me.
Amazing.
So, pretty sick.
Yeah, I used to play WoW as well.
That's good. We have shared vernacular. So, chat, if it's okay, Oz has more of a fizzy brew. I don't have one right now, but one day we're gonna have to get a collab going where we have double fizzy stuff going on. I think that'll be a good time, chat. Okay, if you want that, make sure you like the stream, and we'll have to keep it going. So, but Oz, we're not just here to talk about Excel and about your past in EVE. Do you have that link? That's like your CSM link. I can put it in chat. You can put it. Let me permit you on the Twitch stream. You can put it in the Twitch stream. While you find that, let me tell the people. Perfect. Put it in the Twitch stream too. Perfect. Excellent. CSM's chat, the Counselor of Seller Management. You can vote on players like Oz to be elected to be representatives for you to go talk to the devs, to go talk to CCP Games, and they can help improve the game. So, Oz, this is not your first rodeo. Why don't you tell people this would be your 3rd CSM? Is that correct?
Yeah, my 3rd and final. Actually, you're only allowed to do 3 consecutive terms, so this would be my last term. I have served the last 2, and essentially the way it works, it's like a player focus group and advocacy group. So you all get to vote with each of your accounts, and you get to vote who you feel will represent you towards CCP in terms of how do we make the game better, how do we make sure it's stable, how do we make sure CCP addresses the things that players want to see in terms of new content, in terms of quality of life fixes, whatever it may be. And it's a very diverse group of people. And when I say diverse, I mean play styles.
Yeah. We heard that when we interviewed Drake last week. Yeah, it was like null bears with low sec pirates, with potchfin enjoyers, with market PvPers like yourself. I love that though, because it's a very wide swath of brain power in the room, ready to improve the game that we love. That's sick. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I mean, there's no other game out there that does this. And a lot of people like to rail on CCP for many things, and sometimes that's certainly warranted. But what they don't have to do this, they don't have to have these whole elections and fly people out to Iceland, and and some people say, and then you let them get off easy because they fly you out there. No, these, like when we have I mean, I just had a meeting today, this afternoon, where we had a lot of intense discussions with CCP on one specific topic. And when we are there in Iceland for the summit, it's 1 week of workshops, 9 to 5 all day, discussing the game, having very intense discussions, and it's by no means always friendly. It's always respectful, but it's very, very heated sometimes, and that's the way it should be, because we're talking about a game, but we're talking about a game that a lot of people spend a lot of time on, and it's very important to a lot of people, and so we take it very seriously. I could say for all of the CSMs that I've been fortunate enough to serve with, they've all taken it very serious, and they all spend a ton of time and effort in this task.
Yeah, it's really impressive, and not something we are going to brush over, y'all. The amount of work that goes into this. Oz is right, that the amount of work that the devs are doing, which letting people come in, flying them out, spending literal thousands of dollars to get players out to Iceland, then spending the time to hear player feedback. Like, this goes beyond you made a forum post and they will add it to the list. They're literally there in person, be able to bounce off live for 8 hours a day for a week. This is one of the reasons why the game has been shifting, I think, towards better. I think the game's getting better slowly but surely, is because of partially, maybe even majoritively, if that's a word. Okay, you can be the judge of that. It's been shifting positively, I think, because of the quality CSMs that have been there, that it really are boots on the ground with a lot of his data. And Oz, it's actually one of the reasons I said that I don't know if I would ever run as a CSM, because I don't play the game that much. Like, I play the game a lot. It's my job, to like make guides for stuff, and we test stuff live. But when I hear, for example, Drake, or when we talk to the other guys we're going to talk to next week too, chat, y'all are, and not just like you Oz, but like the collective people, we're talking people that eat, sleep, and breathe Eve. And that's not something I can give the time to, because I'm also managing the YouTube channel, hiring editors, doing all this other stuff. So I think my value can be this, providing the people with, discussions for who can be voted for, because I don't know if I'd be able to really change anything for the better. It's like, what do you want to do, Loru? I don't know, rebuff the Kronos guy. Why'd you take away my damage? That's about it. It's just, I don't really have enough of an insight into the real detailed echelons of the game to be able to make a difference, I think, because and this is a good point. What platform are you running on? Like, people think, should I vote for Oz? What's your elevator pitch? Why should they vote for you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first of all, let me say, I think I've seen your guides. I've seen you stream Eve. I'm sure there's a lot that you could add. And I had the same concerns, because I had a Twitch show before I went on to the CSM. I never streamed full time, and I only stream once a week, and it's more, it's a more of a community thing rather than a job for me. But I was very concerned, and I was very concerned in terms of, would I have the time to stream? Would I have the time to play Eve anymore alongside, family and job? And I have to say, it is very tough. Like, I have a lot less time now to play Eve, unfortunately, and ironically, now that I'm on the CSM, because I have, at least one weekly meeting. I talk to CCP devs several times a week on Slack to discuss certain things, and then I have a job on the side. So it's a big time commitment, but it's, I think everyone that is on the CSM is also honored at the same time.
Totally.
But let me answer your question on. So I have the advantage of already having served 2 terms on the CSM, so I have things to show for, right? Like, I can point to certain things that have happened in the last 2 years that I've influenced, and that most people know I've influenced, because I've been very vocal about it on my Twitch show or on YouTube channels. And that is, the big thing is the money supply. So when I went onto the CSM, when I was elected onto it 2 years ago, the ISK supply was, I would say, out of control. I mean, if you look at the MER and you look at the ISK supply graph, it was exponentially increasing because of two major ISK things that were out of control, and that's why,
harvest.
the events were one thing. The events,
Yeah.
at least they're time locked though. But we had wormholes, C5, C6 wormholes, printing 20 trillion a month, we had a month exporting 20 trillion a month from C5, C6 wormholes, and we had Parchment. Parchment was new, and it was being, let's say, highly automated, a ton, and and so, you know, those two things. Since then, I've worked with Mark Resurrectors, the wormhole CSM back then, to find a solution to how we could get that under control. I worked with Drake, the Parchment candidate, to get that under control. So when people say, oh, you know, Oz is just out there nerfing parts of space, no, I work with the people living in that space to make the right decisions. I give my economic input in terms of, hey, I want to avoid hyperinflation in EVE Online by just injecting stupid ISK into the system without syncing it out. And that's what I do. And that's what I have been successfully doing for the last 2 years. If you look at the ISK supply graph now,
much less,
you will see that it has leveled off. It's back under control. We've even increased market taxes, even though that hits people like me the most. And you know, and if you ask anyone on the CSM, you can go ask anyone on the CSM. You can ask CCP if they want to tell you that I was a major driving force behind that, because I was the one that said this is not sustainable. We can't do this. The other thing that I have had a big influence on was the insane amount of sales that we've been seeing and the destabilization that caused in the market. We had a new Eden store sales, like 2-for-1 extractor Plexageddon, as I call it, you know, that would regularly spike Plex prices to 7 million, 8 million, or even almost
one in December last year.
Market.
I remember that one vividly because I made a lot of in-game money.
Yeah. And these are very, very lucrative for people that have large amounts of capital. But on the other hand, these were also very much destabilizing the economy. And so when we're talking, when CCP brings out dev blogs that say, you know, we want to stop gamifying monetization, and we want to, no more FOMO, or whatever the line is that they used. Like, those are things that I influence a lot, because I told them at the CSM summit, and you can see this from my presentations that I've made public to CCP from the CSM summit. I said, look, we can't keep doing this, because people will just wait for these sales. They will stop spending anything until these sales come out, and then when they come out, it crashes extractor prices. It spikes Plex prices. It just destabilizes, you know, the 3 items in the economy that make up 56% of the total trade revenue. And so
yes,
we shouldn't do that anymore. And so those are 2 things that I'm there for, because those are the things that I think the average CSM and the average player does not advocate for. But this is the stuff that I think about, that I cover, that I do as a job, for, to be honest. And that's what I do, and that's why you should vote for me.
Chat, vote for him if you want to make less money. You know, no, it's more like having a healthier economy. Because I liked what you were saying about it being cyclical with the sales, where it's like up or down, up or down. I would rather not have to worry about prices being to the moon or to the ground, and have it be more even, so I can play the dang game. You know, that sounds good to me. And sometimes, Chad, we have to take 1 step back to take 3 steps forward, because the prices were getting out of control. We saw a lot of improvements this year, especially with the global Plex market. Being able to buy and sell Plex from anywhere in space has obviously had an effect on Plex prices. You've been seeing them slowly settling. They were closer to 6.5, 6 million. Now they're at like 5.5, 5 million. Yeah. When there isn't some kind of sale.
That takes about a year to implement, you know, at least a year, probably more. So if we're talking like discussions on the CSM, like the stuff you discuss, or even the ideas you bring up, sometimes it takes 1 or 2 years for you to see them in game, and sometimes, you know, you get lauded or punished for things that you had nothing to do with, because you just, you know, it's like real life politics. You know, you get voted, the next guy is there, and then the economy goes up, and you're like, oh, look at the great work he's doing. I'm not basing this on any real politics, please. This
No,
is
no,
just an example.
we don't do that here, you know. So, but this is a really good point. Drake, when we talked to him, was talking a lot about the Pochfin ISK fountains and how you've seen a lot of patch notes about Pochfin this past year, and Oz and Drake and the other CSMs that were advocating for this are a part of that, where Stealth was nerfed, the Pochfin Express was nerfed. You know, I made a video on Pochfin Express back in the day, and it still is okay. But my God, it's not even close to as overpowered as it used to be, where it was just a effortless, riskless way to get stuff back to HiSec to Jitta to sell. And I really liked what you were saying about Eve's economy and talking about it at a macro sense. You know, we don't often hear somebody advocating for, vote for me and I'll raise the taxes. You know, like, what do you mean? That's not what he's saying, Chad. He's saying vote for me and it'll make the game more, let's call it more fun to play, because you won't have to worry as much about market fluctuations being so erratic. Is that fair, Oz? Is that a good summary?
Yeah, that's definitely what I've been advocating for. And I can't help, Loru. I'm a streamer, so I look at your chat.
Answer anything. Yeah, go ahead.
So I know that Clickety Clack was joking about, like, you heard it here, folks. He wants to ungamify the game, and I know it's a joke. But I want to explain inflation real quick to people that might not understand why I'm harping on about this. Because
here we go.
If you have a currency in game where you just inject more and more and more and more, it's the same as in real life. It loses its value, and it reduces the purchasing power for everyone. So the problem with, let's call them bots in Pochfin, but also multi-boxers that are maybe doing something in very secure space, or a very few amount of people taking 20 trillion out of C5 and C6 wormholes,
right?
Then if you are not one of these select people, right, you are much worse off every single day. And I was so surprised by so many people not understanding the basics of inflation when I got hounded by some of these communities. Yeah. And that's why I always, take the time and explain that I am not here to make you less rich. I am here to increase your purchasing power.
Yeah.
And I know that you guys like to defend those people that are making the insane amounts of ISK. Yeah, thank you. I'm one of the richest players here, right? But
how much
you don't have to.
How much you got?
My personal wealth is between 1 and 2 trillion right now, but I manage about 5 trillion for the community, because I manage a fund.
Yeah, you do like a community hedge fund. Isn't that sick, Chat? In Eve?
I do. That's what I started. Yeah, that's what I started 5 years ago, and
it's really cool.
It's the thing is, people always said that something like that is not possible, and I did it the only way that it is possible, and that is by building up trust. Right? I am someone who is always I show my face. I'm always in the community. I am at FanFest. You can go talk to me. I'm on the CSM. CCP knows me. Like, also, I'm too rich to care about running away with some of your money, and so I do it for the experience and proving that it's possible, and the excitement of being the largest public fund in EVE. And yes, I have stopped while I'm on the CSM. I have stopped trading altogether because I am under NDA, and I'm also under constant surveillance. So you have to give up your accounts to CCP, and they survey you are under the normal surveillance of the security team there, just as CCP employees are. And so I don't want to risk being banned for carelessness, and so I've just stopped trading altogether. I do the, if there's a 2-for-1 sale, like, I take advantage of it, because A, they don't tell us about them, and B, it's such a no-brainer that it's like, I'm not taking advantage of anything. I'm just spending my money.
Now this is a good point.
Yeah.
If you're on the CSM chat, yes, they have access to information before you and I do as common players, as the people that are like out there, you know. I might see the information first as an EVE partner, Oz and I both, but then the rest of you will see it downstream, let's say, okay, the common man. That doesn't mean that he's benefiting from it in game because of the surveillance that CCP has on him. Just like when we get the EVE partner skins, Oz knows, I don't know if chat knows this, I am unable to sell the skins that we get from the EVE partner program, and they're like 200 to 300 million ISK a pop. You know, I'm staring at 20 of them going, I could use 5 bill, but it's not something I can do. They're only for giveaways. If we sell them, we get removed from the EVE partner program. It's not worth it, you know. So, and Oz, it's a good point. I'd like to encourage you too that don't worry about the vocal minority that doesn't understand. So, are you familiar with Arby's, the 3rd pounder burger? Are you familiar with this? Yeah.
Yeah, I lived in the US for 10 years in Texas.
So you know that oh, that's awesome, by the way, awesome. The chat, for those of you that don't know, you know how McDonald's has the quarter pounder. The quarter pounder. Arby's came out with a 3rd pounder. So thinking, hey, everyone's gonna love the 3rd pounder. Market research and common sentiment said, why would I get the 3rd pounder? It's smaller than the quarter pounder. To which Oz and I both went, no, it's not. 1/3 is bigger than a quarter. You know how fractions work, but the vocal majority were all sitting there going like, yeah, but 3's not bigger than 4. You can't fool me with your marketing speak. So they actually had to get rid of the 1/3 pounder burger because it didn't work. It didn't sell because people didn't understand. What I'm trying to say, Oz, is that like people aren't going to get like inflation. Exactly. People aren't going to get that there's inflation. You actually convinced me when one of the first Oz reports I watched, and he does, again, the YouTube channel of his will be in the description, chat. So will his CSM stuff that you can peruse, chat, and see it in the description. You convinced me that the ISK faucet of Crimson Harvest Winter Nexus should be nerfed. Because I'm sitting here rolling around at a Chronos getting 1 billion ISK in an afternoon. Brain dead, rolling around with a polarized Blaster Chronos doing 5,000 DPS, actually burning through stuff, out DPSing. The only thing that out DPSed me was a polarized Barghest. And he showed up and really just obliterated the boss, whatever. So you convinced me that, hey, that probably should be nerfed. Not because it's making people too much money. That's not what he's saying, Chad. He's saying that ISK faucets like that only reward top skill players means the rest of the game the rest of the players in the game don't have as much purchasing power. It is the definition of a macro problem. So Oz, let me just encourage you to keep fighting the good fight, you know. So it's
thanks. It's the
you know, it's heck
the Christmas event or the Winter Nexus event is the massive one there.
Yeah.
And at least it's fairly democratized. I don't know. I always only run a few sites of them because it's not my type of content. But
well, and now too,
at least a lot of people are running them.
Crimson
at
Harvest,
a lot of people are running them.
Yeah. Crimson Harvest for the first time since I can remember has new bro friendly sites. The Tetramon and the Blood Raider sites used to be just for like big battle cruisers. You could do it in a T3 cruiser, but it would go slow. And I could do them in 10 minutes with a Marauder, but that's max tier. Now you have the class 1 sites we were just doing on stream today, class 1, class 2, class 3, which is like destroyers, which is for newer players. I'm assuming, and I don't know this chat, I'm just speculating. Oz, maybe look away. If Winter Nexus might have something similar. You know, I don't want to get revealed information here. You know, so, but
no, I'm used to it. I stream knowing this stuff all the time.
If it's in Crimson Harvest, I assume it's in Winter Nexus or at least something similar. So really cool that they're adding new bro focused stuff. So, and someone asked in chat like, what's Oz running on? I think it's safe to say, chat, that Oz is running on improving your wallets with very macro decisions that are good for the everyman, not just for somebody with 300 million skill points doing C5 wormholes. 20 trillion a month? Was that ratting?
Yeah.
And exploit? Was it everything? Was it just ratting?
That was
like
Blue
Lulu.
Just Blue.
That doesn't surprise me. Just ratting, just get your Nagelfurs, get your Phoenixes, and you're just poking the frickin' stuff. That's really nuts, actually. Okay. But that's been improved.
Speaking about Crimson Harvest, though,
please.
I want to give you another example of where I've recently put a lot of work in, and that is when Crimson Harvest was announced. We didn't have the 90% loot drop that we always had, right? And I don't know what CCP's plans were, whether that was always going to be the plan, but certainly, as a CSM, day one, we all went to CCP and said, look, I don't know if we all went. I went very loudly and said, look, we got to bring the 90% back at some point, like somewhere, somehow. And
it's very unique.
It's coming now in the last, I think for the last week or something, right? And it's not in high sec. And I just, those are the types of things that the CSM can do, and the CSM does. Is, hey, can we, look, the players want this. Can we please tweak this immediately? I had another example was a week ago. Somebody posted on my Discord. You can check this now. Somebody posted on my Discord. Hey, there's this blueprint that is misnamed, and I forget which one it was. It was a reaction blueprint. It was. I'm looking it up.
Sure.
It was called. I can't find it right now, but it was in the last patch notes, and they said fuller rights. There we go. Thank you, Jazalkian in chat.
Drez,
it was fuller rights, and it's been like that for 20 years or however long.
It was misnamed. It was like the I and the E were switched.
Yeah. So spreadsheets didn't work because you couldn't go from, hey, this is the input to this is the output, and it was just misnamed. And we got that fixed in 7 days. He posted it on my Discord. I said, CCP, look, can we just change it? And they said, yeah, sure. Awesome, thank you. And they changed it. And next Tuesday we had a patch. And so, I would advocate for CSMs that are available, that are out there, that are talking to you, that are responsive. And you can ask most people in the Twitch community whether, if they've tried to contact me and whether try to talk to me about CSM stuff, feedback, ideas for the game. I'm always game. I think I'm one of the few CSMs in the last years that has done a CSM survey every single year. I did one 2 weeks ago where I just asked the community, tell me, how do you feel the community, the economy is going right now? Are you okay with the amount of IS that you're making? Is the risk-reward function fair? What is undervalued? What's overvalued? All those questions that, nobody's asking. I'm out there asking. I summarize them. I take them to CCP. I present it to them. And I've been working for them for so long that I have I know the devs. I know who does what. They listen to me. They proactively call me sometimes because they have questions, and I would love to do that for a third year, and that's why I'm running again.
Sick. Chad, I hope you see the passion coming through. The people, if you are new to the game, and that's right. I don't just say that, Oz, too, because I'm gonna be interviewing a lot of people, and I'm not necessarily making a here's who you should vote for kind of thing. But what I will tell people is, look, here's the, I'm not a moderator. I can say who I'm going to vote for. It's probably Drake. Come on, geez Louise, because I live in Poshman. He's done good stuff.
Nice.
This is kind of what I'm saying.
He's going to be on my ballot. Drake's going to be in my top 3. Yeah.
And this is really good to understand, Chad. How the CSM goes is you can have, is it 5, Oz? You have your order of 5 votes. You have 1 vote, but it's 10. Okay, so you have 1 vote, Chad. But how it goes is you have to organize your most I want them to win versus to your least I want to win. What is your I really want this person to be a CSM down to it would be nice if they were a CSM. And you could do up to 10, but you only get 1 vote. And how it works is you just put them in order, organize it, and then as people get knocked out, your vote will go to whoever's still in at the top. It's a nice way of saying that you have choice, but you only have 1 vote. Ranked choice voting is correct. Really good deep space, yes. And this is my point. You don't just have to put
That is why you have to put me on number 1. That's
you
why you have to put me on number 1.
Hey, if you like it, Trent. That's great.
That's the only way that you can ensure, if you want to vote for me, that the vote is counted for me. Otherwise, it might be counted to whoever you put it on 1. It might even be wasted if it falls out late. And
it's a good point.
It's very complicated, but it's an awesome system. I love it. Absolutely love it.
I really think it makes sense.
it's very, participatory. People get to discuss, get to rank, and everybody gets to feel a little bit good about the result in the end, because most people get some vote counted at some point.
Yes. Yeah, when you vote, chat, you're going to be seeing a lot more of these interviews, not just Oz, but like, a whole swath of people. We've got low-sec pirates, we've got Eve economists, we've got Ponchfin enjoyers, whatever. Choose your favorite and make your list. Oz, this is really great talk. We definitely got to do some more stuff. I'll see if I can persuade my wife to let me stream at night, and I will have to do some collab stuff going. It's going to be good. Oz, I'll give you the last word. Hype up the stuff, your Twitch channel, YouTube, whatever you want to talk about. Talk about what you want. Go ahead, dude.
It's pretty easy. You can go to theoz.space. That's my website. That's where you can find my videos. I also have a really cool market dashboard there that shows you the top 10 rising items, falling items in the last 7 days, the most overvalued, undervalued. It's a whole bunch of stuff that I use for my trading. Theoz.space. There you go. Thank you, Loru.
Got you.
And you won't find CSM, vote for me stuff there, because it's a content site. But if you like this type of content, if you like the way that I approach the game, the way I talk about the game, then I would love to have your vote. Put me on number 1. And if you're unsure yet and you want to see more content, you can go to twitch.com/Oz_Eve, or you can go to youtube.com/OzEve, and there you can see all the videos and stuff that I've done. I regularly interview CCP devs as well on my show, and so you can see, if you don't believe me about challenging them, watch some of the Ratati videos that I've done, because I do ask questions that are not always easy, and that's how I approach my CSM tenure as well. And you asked me earlier, what I'm running on, and I talked a lot about past things, so maybe just like 2 or 3 bullets on what I'm looking for going forward.
Yes.
I think definitely capital ships are still too expensive. They need to come down. It's very, very, very important that we get Rorquals back into space. Rorquals are such an integral part of EVE Online, and they're not out there, and so they cannot be hunted. They cannot, and people aren't using them in large mining fleets, and so cheaper capitals, making sure that Rorquals have a way to go out there, and then also removing some of the bottlenecks that we're still seeing. I mean, let's talk about, I could talk hours about Pyrite right now, but the whole Metanox implementation was good in some ways, but it's so broken in other ways. And so there's so much work that I still want to do with all this stuff that I just would love to.
Sounds good to me.
And thanks, Loru, for having me.
Happy to do it, man. My wife just brought me a snack, so I'm just gonna put that down. Love you, honey. I am live right now. Yes. Love you, honey. Love you a lot. Oz, thanks very much for taking the time. Chat, we'll put Oz's links in the description below. Thanks very much, Oz. I will play you out in just a sec. Feel free to stay on the line. I will talk to you in just a sec. Ladies and gentlemen, good stuff from Oz. My wife brought me apples. I love her so much. Okay, thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, check out Oz. The links will be in the description for you if you want more CSM interviews and more just like quality podcast style EVE Online talk, space MMO discussions. That's this playlist right here. And if you want more EVE guides like this, sub right here. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much.